Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. Today we are talking Jaguars Falcons Week 16 game preview, all the important start sits in this one, going over every player and the overall game. Over-under for this one is 47, decently high, and the spread right now is Falcons are favored to win by 7. I think the Falcons will cover that spread. The Jaguars have not been playing very well, and the Falcons have been doing pretty decently. Dan Quinn is still trying to convince everyone that he deserves another year at being the coach of the Falcons, so I don't think that he's going to let his team slack off in this one, but I don't know what's happening with the Jaguars. They've been, for the most part, imploding. They did win last week, but the Raiders are also imploding, so we'll take that one with a grain of salt. Looking at the starts in this one, definitely looking to start Matt Ryan. I think he's a strong start this week. Devonta Freeman as well. Julio Jones, of course. DJ Chark is back in this one. I think if you have him, you play him. Austin Hooper, and then the Falcons defense. Players I'm second guessing and possibly avoiding if I can would be Gardner Minshew, Leonard Fournette, Dede Westbrook, Chris Conley, and Russell Gage. And then players that I'm just sitting because their upside is nowhere near what we need right now is Keelan Cole and then the Jaguars defense. So we'll start with the away team, the Jaguars. On paper, this matchup looks decent for Gardner Minshew, but Atlanta has become stingier against the pass, including a game where they suppressed both Breeze and Garoppolo. It's looking pretty positive right now that DJ Chark is going to play, and even if he does, he probably won't be at 100%. He'll probably be good enough to start for fantasy, but I don't know that elevates Gardner Minshew enough to warrant the potential risk of him dudding you in Week 16. I'm trying to find another option if I can. For Leonard Fournette, we highlighted him in our potential sits in our start-sit video this week. If Atlanta ends up boat racing the Jags and Fournette gets mostly games scripted out, he'll still have a few targets, but overall he hasn't been great on the ground, and if he's not getting a lot of carries, it's going to be hard for him to get going in this one. So while I don't think that his floor is incredibly low, his ceiling is definitely capped in this one. So not a must bench, but if you have better options, I think that there are quite a few more players this week that have more upside than Leonard Fournette. So if you have specific questions about whether you should start Fournette or not, feel free to comment below and I can help you guys make those choices. On the receiver side, I do think you play DJ Chark. He's just been so dominant this year that you probably need to play him. If you held on to him at this point, then he still is worth starting, but I'm not really excited about any other option here, especially with Chark being back. Westbrook might have an okay game, but that suppresses Conley's touchdowns, it suppresses Keelan Cole's snaps, so I'm just DJ Chark and no one else there, and then definitely not starting O'Doyle for tight ends. And then I don't want to start the Jaguars defense either because Ryan has been playing much better ever since recovering from that injury. So I'm not going to play the Jaguars defense against Ryan and Julio Jones. On the Falcons side of the ball, the Jaguars are giving up 8th most points to the quarterback on the season. Ryan has been playing very strong, and he's rekindled his love for throwing the ball to Julio Jones. So I think Ryan is a top 10 option this week. Look to get him in your lineup if you don't have a better play. Running backs, in the last 5 weeks, there's not a single team in the NFL that has allowed more fantasy points to the running backs than Jacksonville. So I think Freeman is a very strong play in this one. I would start him with confidence. Wide receivers, of course, you're starting Julio, especially after that nuclear explosion that he gave us last week. Russell Gage becomes an interesting flex, but I don't anticipate that they'll need to throw a ton in this game. I think the Falcons will win this one pretty easily, so they're not going to have to throw the ball an extensive amount of times, and that really caps Russell Gage's upside. He's more of a desperation flex or a possible cast play in DFS, but especially with Hooper likely more involved, I'm probably steering clear. But speaking of Hooper, I do think that he is a better play this week. Anyone that watched the game knows that he should have scored that touchdown last week. The fact that that was overturned was a bit crappy, especially for people that had started Hooper. That would really help his fantasy day. But I like Hooper in this one. Jacksonville has allowed the most points to the tight end in the last 5 weeks, so I'm firing up Hooper. And I think Atlanta's defense becomes pretty sneaky here. Jacksonville has not been able to move the ball too well. Gardner Minshew is prone to commit some mistakes, throw some interceptions. So I think the Falcons defense are worth a start here if you don't have a better option. But I'd say at least top 10 the Falcons should finish this week. They've been getting better on defense over the past couple weeks, and I do like them to shut the Jaguars down this week. Anyway, hope you guys found this helpful. Again, if you have specific questions, just trying to make those lineup decisions for this final week, just feel free to post below. I'll be sure to get to them and help you guys set the best lineup possible. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more content, and we will see you in the next one.